Welcome back to a celebration of the '83 White Sox, still ugly after all these years, on the Games People Play Media Network. And look at that smiling mug right smack dab in the middle of the screen. '83 was a special time. The record of the year was Beat It by Michael Jackson. The song of the year was Every Breath You Take by Sting and the Police. And every breath this guy took, every time a pitcher threw a pitch, he would beat it, and all the fans would watch every breath he took. Local boy made great, Ron Kittle. Thanks so much for joining us on the celebration of your '83 team. How are you, Kitty?
I appreciate that. Great seeing you. I haven't seen you for a while.
No, it's always, you look great, as always. You look young, you look happy, and you just came back from visiting one of the 7 wonders of the world. Tell the Sox fans where you just came back from.
One of my favorite places to drive motorcycles in with my better half is the Badlands of South Dakota and Wyoming. So we hit Mount Rushmore, we hit Devil's Tower. We put about 2,000 miles on motorcycle. We probably killed 4 billion bugs while we were out there. And, we wanted to go to Sturgis towards the rally, but with everything transpiring about the COVID disease, we elected not to. So we decided to go out there now. We saw more wildlife. It was the best riding time ever because the weather was 45 in the morning and close to 80 in the afternoon. We saw everything you could possibly see out there, and there was nobody in front of us and nobody behind us. So we were very safe and secure, and we had a great time.
Mount Rushmore I got to see it, and, I'd seen it on television. I had seen it in the Hitchcock movie, North by Northwest. And it's going to be cool, but you have no idea how epic it is till you're out there staring at those 4 man-made figures that are hand-sculpted that took decades to prepare. It's just crazy. And I think if you look closely enough, the third head over is Hawk Harrelson.
Yeah, well, somebody asked me where I was going. I said I was going to Mount Reinsdorf to see. I even told him I was going there. He goes, "Don't go that crazy." But like you said, pictures and videos don't do it justice. See, there should not be a person in the United States that doesn't take a tour up there to visit to look at this, because it's awe-inspiring. Everything up there. You got the Crazy Horse monument being built now,
right,
and there's an opening underneath his arm where it's extended. It's 9 stories tall, and the government wants to take hold and finish it and complete it. But when you get the government involved in things out there, they want their penny and everything. So the private sector is building it on their own. They're doing a great job. It's just fresh air, beautiful country. Mountains, elk, mountain lion, buffalo. We almost hit a couple bisons. I've had them like 3 feet from me. I could have petted them, and I was ready to jump off. But just as long as you don't bother them, they're not going to bother you.
Well, I tell you, Sox fans weren't bothered by the '83 team that you played on. You were a local boy that just 1 second you're tooling around Gary, and the next second you're smack dab in the middle of the lineup. 35 homers, 100 RBI, Rookie of the Year for number 42, Ron Kittle. And Ron, what did you tell me once, that you were so good that they had to, what did they do with your number?
They retired it everywhere in the world, number 42.
I love that. So, it must have been a thrill to play in the bigs. What was it like playing for the Chicago White Sox?
Well, my career started earlier with the Dodgers organization. I had a bad injury. I was out of baseball. Given a second chance to play, I came up there not thinking I was better than anybody or anybody was better than me. Our '83 team had a great chemistry. And I would have never used that word 50 years ago, but I've heard it a billion times by Hawk Harrelson and everybody else. We just gelled good. We had a mix of talent, and every night there was a different hero. And but when the bell rang between the lines from Tony La Russa and our great coaching staff, it was fun. It was enjoyable to go to the ballpark.
And that was Tony's first managerial gig. He came in the middle of '79. So he was 4.5 years into his career when he got there. And a lot of people forget there was a pretty good manager at third base Was it hard for Jim Leland to go through an entire pack of cigarettes during one game?
No, it was hard for him to go through a pack of cigarettes that didn't explode, because Mark Hill used to put little firecrackers in his cigarettes. And he would go down to the tunnel and he'd light one up and it'd explode. Then you'd hear him cuss like a banshee. But you know what? It was, you needed a Mark Hill on the team. You needed a Jerry Kuzman, Greg Lazinski. I keep in touch with Harold Baines, Greg Walker, and those guys 2 or 3 times a week. We talk on the phone. We text. It was as close as a family as you possibly could have had in baseball.
I remember the game against the Brewers when there used to be that rule that you couldn't start an inning after 1 a.m. and you guys ended up playing 23 innings with Milwaukee, and I think Seaver won 2 games the same day, and Mark Hill was playing third base. I loved it.
Well, yeah, I remember that game. It was matter of fact, I think I got hurt in the second inning jumping for a home run, and I landed on, that was the year that it was solid brick in, the outfield. I wound up rolling over my ankle. It swelled up. It was black and blue. I got taken out of the game. Jerry Hairston did it 2 innings later, the exact same situation. And, they moved people around that day. So the third day, they put pads on the outfield so nobody would hit into it and ruin their feet. But, Harold Baines came out hitting a home run. Seaver was pitching the second game of the doubleheader. And he goes, I'll go out there and get loose. He did. He got a win. He got 2 wins that day.
2 for the price of 1. I love it. Lazinski used to talk about how thrilling it was for all the home runs he hit to land them on the roof, the same roof that Babe Ruth landed home runs on, that Lou Gehrig hit a couple on. Jimmy Fox, I think,
6.
had 4. You waited till September, and then you belted a couple of home runs that I think might still be in the air right now. It's got to be so cool to hit a home run in Major League Baseball. What's it like hitting one on the roof at Old Comiskey?
During my tryout in '78, I hit one on there of Bruce Del Canton. He was the pitching coach at the time.
Former Brave.
That was at my tryout, and I never thought it would get up there, but it made everybody else say, that's a long way up there. But, like you said, Babe Ruth hit the first. I hit the last. Bull hit 3. Jimmy Fox hit 6. And I finished up hitting 7 total. And, they're comparing these home runs that these guys are hitting now. You had to hit it over 550 feet to get it to the roof. And they're saying that these young kids are hitting it towards the concourse. They're going 500 feet. I think Bull and I would disagree on that wholeheartedly, how hard you got to hit it up there.
So, Bull was playing a lot of DH with you guys, but I remember that when he played left, and when he played left for the Phillies, he used to have that weird kind of angled stance. He wouldn't face the batter. He would want to get a break on the ball. He'd kind of stand sideways. I always worried that if I were one of his teammates in the clubhouse and he came to the urinal next to me, did he have the same stance then?
He might have, but when you're what your body can do. Obviously, everybody's either better coming in or going back, going to the right or to the left. So obviously, he was heading to his best direction. But when you wore glasses in the outfield at any of the older ballparks, those lights were dim yellow. And you needed to keep the glare off your glasses. I used to tell that to Jerry all the time. The old Comiskey Park, I call it Old Sox Park, was down, home plate was above, and the backstop was about 6 feet lower. So you're looking at baseballs coming out of everybody's shirts at the same time. You couldn't even see the ball. So you got to keep the deflection of the light off your glasses out there. And it was always wet. So when they hosed all the beer out of the stadium, it went to right and left field. So Harold and I used to have to put plastic bags on our feet to keep our feet dry.
So, Kitty, usually a team has one strength, but you guys could hit the ball, you had starting pitching, and you had bullpen by committee, which frankly never works, but it was working with you guys. You had four guys with at least 7 saves. When you think about that 83 Sox, why do you think you guys were so dominant to win your division by a remarkable 20 games?
Well, we had a mixture of everything. We had seasoned veterans. We had a few mid-range players who had a couple years in the big leagues, and I think we had 4 or 5 rookies at the time on Scotty Fletcher and myself and Greg Walker. They talked baseball. They had fun after the game. We had a lot of baseball meetings or parties, whatever you wanted to call them. But everybody there enjoyed going to the ballpark. And you got Lamar Hoyt, Floyd Bannister, Rich Dotson, Jerry Kuzman. I mean, these guys were as good as they were. And a couple of them played on winning teams before, so they knew what you had to do. But I got to really take it back to Tony La Russa, Jimmy Leland, Eddie Brinkman, Charlie Lau. We had one of the best coaching staffs probably in the history of baseball, not just for the White Sox, for all extended. Dave Duncan is our pitching coach, Davey Nelson. I mean, Artie Kushner. I mean, he kept the team loose.
Cave.
The Cave, but those guys, they knew baseball. And Jimmy Leland was a manager in himself. So that's having 2 managers on the same team. And, it's nice to chit chat when I see all these guys all the time, but they were very prepared every single ball game.
The guys that, just like you just did, the guys that played for the White Sox rave about the batting instruction they got from Charlie Lau. What did Charlie teach you at the dish?
Well, I swung like Charlie taught when I was in high school. So him and I kind of just hit it off. He put me on the cover as one of his books. I've always swung like that. I never knew it was Charlie Lau style. I didn't know what it was called. I just hit. I grew up picking up rocks, hitting with a broomstick. If you can hit, you can hit. When you're going good, you can throw a tic-tac at me and I can hit it. There's days when you're not going so good you couldn't hit a beach ball. But Charlie was very soft-spoken. I go into Kansas City, and I'm hitting pretty well. And I think I was like 0 for 9. And I hit the ball on the button, and Willie Wilson was running things down like I was the little leaguer. So you're outs. And I wanted to have early hitting. So Charlie put a ball on top of home plate. I'll never forget this. And he goes, hit it like a golf ball. So I hit 2 balls that like skipped off the rubber of home plate and a line drive up to center field. And he goes, you're done hitting. And it's like 1 o'clock. He goes, no, you got your stuff. You got your head right. And so, staying healthy was a key. Communicating with players. I mean, there's no secret to this game. If you stay healthy and you're talented, you're going to do all right. Because your brain is probably the things that ruins most people's careers. If you think, you stink.
I'll have to remember that. My wife tells me the you stink part all the time, but I don't have the you think part in front of it. The jovial young man we're trying to get out of his shell, that's Ron Kittle, who was Rookie of the Year in 1983 and had a wonderful baseball career. Kitty is visiting with us on the Games People Play Media Network for our 83 celebration. It's called Still Ugly After All These Years. Ron, when did you think that you might be the American League Rookie of the Year?
I started the season, I wanted to be the best in the whole league. That's the way you got to think. That's how I was brought up. I came back from a broken neck. I was paralyzed. I was completely out of baseball. I was
say that again so people understand where you came from to become the guy that hit 35 homers and 100 RBI.
Well, I started with the Dodgers out of a tryout camp, and I was ironworking at the time. I had to go ironworking or go to college and play basketball. So I went to the tryout. I did very well, signed for a bonus, go to spring training with the Dodgers, and I opened up in Clinton, Iowa with Mike Scioscia, Mickey Hatcher. We had a great team. My first at bat, I hit a double. Mike Scioscia hits a bloop single. The next hitter, I round the base, slid into home plate, and the catcher landed on me, and he broke my neck, and I was paralyzed at home plate. First game, first at bat. And so it was probably 30 days before I started really was able to do anything. So, as an 18-year-old kid, you just want to play. So I would play a week, then it would hurt. So my neck never hurt me. Everything else hurt on me. And it got to the point where I think I hit 250 that year, 7 home runs, 25 RBIs, and 100 at-bats. And I get home, and my teeth are bleeding. And I go to the doc. My dad takes me to the doctor, and I have 3 crushed vertebrae and a cracked spinal cord. And the doctor goes, what are you doing playing? And it was like 2 days later, I had major surgery with the screws in my head and a halo. And they said, you'll never play sports again the rest of your life. So I wasn't a big fan of the doctor, but I had a tough dad. I had a tough dad. And he made me, I think I would have, if I died, he probably wouldn't have had no compassion for me. But he made me realize that you got to become strong. And I ran like a deer. I used to switch hit. And I just got I went working out with Nautilus, got strong, went from like 185 to 245 solid muscle. And I went to another trial camp and signed with the White Sox.
That's unbelievable. Ron, when you guys were playing, it was old-time baseball. We talked a little bit with Hawk about how LaRussa would kind of set up a room in every hotel on the road to give you guys a chance to just kind of unwind with each other. You didn't have to like go off in little cliques. You didn't have to hit the bar or go to the hotel next door. You could just kind of unwind and be together and stuff. That was a time when baseball didn't have all these rules. Of the rules today, Hawk got all over the fact you can't bring a guy in to face one hitter, but he's got to face three. What do you like or what do you dislike that they've done with the game? Would you have loved the ability to have challenged the call? If you thought the umpire made a bad play, would you have loved that?
Well, all sports are dictated on an error, human error. So there's no perfect umpire. There's no perfect pitcher, hitter, whatever it is. You win and lose by error. Do I like it? If it makes the call correct, it's fine with me. Getting back to what Hawk said, Tony would get, they always had giant suites at the hotels we had, and we'd order 10, 15 pizzas. You'd have beer, pop, whatever you want. Not everybody drank. And they get up there and they talk BS, whatever it is. And, Jimmy Leland would sing, and, we had all kind of, different personalities up there all the time. Some would go up there to eat. I've been an early bird my entire life. So during the season, I would wake up 5, 6 o'clock. I'd go eat breakfast. Then I wouldn't stay out after midnight a lot because I don't like to eat late. I still don't. So you had your personalities, but you had Bull. He might've stayed up late, but he didn't wake up till 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But when they went to the ballpark, they were prepared. I think, is it easier to play now than it is back then? I think back then, every team had 3 ace pitchers and at least 2 or 3 good, closers towards the end and maybe a closer. Nowadays, you got maybe 1 or 2 star pitchers. They're throwing somebody out there, like you said, one batter, whatever it is. That would probably drive me crazy. But I think as a hitter, I would have been more productive now because you can't get hit. So Lazinski would hit a home run. I'd get drilled in the side. He hit it. Why did he hit me? Harold hit a home run. I'd get hit in the side. You can't throw at pitchers now or hitters nowadays. So these guys are getting big swings every at bat. It's not that they're throwing over 100 miles an hour. These guys throw hard, but back then you had guys that threw 3 or 4 or 5 pitches over the plate at any particular time. And the pitchers who do that now, Harry, are the ones that are having great success.
Yeah, it doesn't seem right. The purpose pitch is gone. You don't have the ability to respond in the way that you used to have. You mentioned getting hit, so I have to bring up the playoffs when the season ended too short. Lamar Dewey Hoyt was remarkable in game 1. You guys get the win in Baltimore. Then Boddicker pitches the game of his life in game 2. You come back to the south side of Chicago for game 3, and you got hit by a pitch.
Yeah.
Is it true that Richard Dotson went up and down the dugout taking a survey from your teammates saying, who do you guys want me to hit because I'm drilling someone?
Well, I don't know if it was that direct, but I hit a double earlier against Mike Flanagan and an RBI, and I had success against them all year. So that at bat that I got hit, it was a 3-0 count, and he only walked 6 people all year. So the guy could hit like a thumbtack if he wanted to. So I had a 3-0 count with a man. I can't remember if there was a first and second situation, and he hit me on the kneecap and broke my kneecap. So, I tried to play one inning and it just swelled up twice the size. I couldn't have played in the World Series. That's how bad it was if we would have went on. But that took me out of the game. And you got to be upset because I was Harold and I were the only ones hitting. Bull and Pudge, they weren't hitting at the time. And so one of the bats are gone, and, it just happened. I wanted to charge the mound, and Rick Dembski grabbed me. And Al Clark, I think, was the umpire, tried to hold me back. And he goes, Kitty, I'm trying to hold you back. I know you can lift both of us up and throw us over the stadium roof, but, at least make me look good.
and obviously you couldn't play game 4 when Britt Burns had the game of his life. Yeah. And you guys ended up going into extras without a score. And Tito Landrum sent the Sox fans home with a upper deck shot that was really remarkable for all the power they had. You don't think Tito Landrum's going to be the guy that's going to go to the upper deck on you. Years later, you would play for the Orioles. Was there a moment where you walked out into that stadium and you thought, I don't like you guys. You took away 83 from me.
Well, Andy and I talked a little bit about that. So I get traded over there. I had family relatives around the vicinity. I love playing baseball. I love playing it. I don't like watching it, but I love playing it. I had mixed feelings. Had nothing to do with the playoffs because when you're in the minor leagues, you play against those guys coming up. Then they get to the big leagues like I would have got to the big leagues. So I knew Junior, Billy, and half the staff over there. It wasn't fun when I got traded because we were in first place. We're half a game out. Kurt Schilling, Pete Harnish, and another guy got hurt, and we went 8 games out quickly within a week. So I got traded to play, and I wasn't even playing. So I probably had 20, 30 at-bats in 3.5 months, and they were against the best pitchers. So I really just disliked a lot of people at the time. Because when you go from playing every day to not playing, and one of the things that really kind of got me is I think I had a $150,000 clause if I had one more at bat, in the last 2.5 months. For 2.5 months, I didn't play the game. They wouldn't put me in the game. So I was joking with Cal Ripken Sr., and he goes, I just hate seeing this happen. And I told him, I said, Senior, I said, the only way I'd get in the game, if the plane crashed, all the players died, and they'd still call up AAA players, and I wouldn't get to play, and he would smoke his little Lucky Strike, and he said, you're probably right.
Reinsdorf would have written your check even if you had missed your at-bat by one.
Yeah, there's no better owner in professional sports than Jerry Reinsdorf. I'm telling you that right now. We've come a little bit closer as friends. That's the reason I'm working for the Chicago White Sox, Jerry Reinsdorf. I love the people that I'm around. I miss the staff daily. I could care less about the players. Really, it doesn't bother me a bit because I don't have any interaction with them at all. I ask for an autograph for my charity. If they don't sign it, I'll never talk to them again. Because I've been doing my charity work for 30 plus years and raised $3 million. So if they think it's for my benefit, they need to shake themselves a little bit. But Jerry's a rock star in this industry.
Okay, so before we end our conversation, can you expound on your charity? And then I got one more thing I want to ask you about.
Ron, it started out as Indiana Sports Charities because I lived in Indiana. Detail was sports, and people get old, they retire, they die, they move on, and I moved to Illinois, so we changed the name of it to Ron Kittle Charities. We've been doing for cancer research and education and numerous for children's pediatric care, and I kind of pony up alongside White Sox Charities, but we've raised $3 million plus, and there's a lot of celebrities that have charities. I lick the stamps, I write the letters, I make the phone calls, I show up, I get the memorabilia, because I love people that say, well, that's not signed because it's not authenticated. I said, I'm 6'4", 250. I authenticate everything I get. That's good enough for those guys. And so it gives me great pleasure to do that. So in the last 4 years, I did a cigar event. And the first one was for Jerry Reinsdorf. It's called the Cigar Social. Jerry's a cigar guy. If he was a vegan, I'd have a vegan event for Jerry, but he smoked cigars. So then we had Harold Baines. We honored him. Then we honored Jim Thome. And this year we're going to honor the 83 team. We're going to have a little function. It's not going to be normal, but we'll represent the 83 players, maybe do cutouts. I don't know what it is because the whole world's a mess right now. And some of these guys, I'd rather have them as a cutout because I don't want to talk to them. But it's still RonKittleCharities.org, and RonKittle.com is my webpage where I build stuff.
And the stuff you build is unbelievable. So again, it's RonKittleCharities.org. And, you can give, if you have it, $500, or you can give, $10, whatever you want to give. It's important. And what Christine does with White Sox Charities is also spectacular. So tell us now, if I wanted to have a bench made of actual, baseball bats used by ball players in the bigs, you're the guy for that, right?
I am the guy. I've been making them for maybe 30 years themselves. Somebody posted on social media the bench that I made for George Lopez, the comedian. And it was on his NBC show in the backyard. And he wanted Roberto Clemente bats. I go, there is no Roberto Clemente bats. So I tracked down his widow at the time, and I bought 18 of his bats. And I got an invoice. I can't tell you this. My daughter called me and said, Dad, it's a COD. So I'm golfing at a charity event. And I said, up in my closet, there's a Nike shoebox with money in it. Go in there. And she comes out, and I think I had $3,000 to $5,000 in that shoebox at the time. Because, and she goes, no, Dad, it's $54,000. So I had to leave the golf tournament, come home, go to the bank, and get money to buy those bats to build him a bench.
That's awesome. And I've seen the benches. You can see them online. They're spectacular. For the guy that has everything, how about a bench handmade by Ron Kittle? There's still one at the ballpark, right?
Yeah, there's a couple of them out there. And average price is $2,500 to $3,000. You got 18 bats times
People have that in their shoebox.
Well, not everybody has a shoebox like I got. But it's a piece of art, and I do them now with humidors, and it's great. It's a great mental relief when I do stuff. I go to the shop. I have great tools. I like spending time out there to do it, and I do it to perfection. But I've been, I made Harold Baines a steel sculpture statue for his Hall of Fame. I presented him on the field. Jim Thome, I made an 8-foot bat. Derek Jeter, I got commissioned a piece for him that the White Sox paid for. Big Papi, when he retired with Boston, I made him a custom humidor filled full of cigars. And so, I get to make some pretty unique items for some special people.
Absolutely. And you're a special guy, and I've seen you with fans. You always have time for fans. Even if you're in a hurry trying to catch a movie or you're meeting someone running late, you always have time for fans, and I appreciate that. I've got to ask you about this team on the field. We've waited years to have this White Sox club come up, and all these young guys come up, and they're as good as advertised. What do you think? Look into your crystal baseball. What do you think happens to the White Sox at the end of these playoffs?
Well, right now, they lost 4 games in a row. It's nothing to panic about because there's some good teams out there. Cleveland, Minnesota, these guys can play. And, you got Roberts having a good year, but he's struggling a little bit right now. He's not struggling because he can't do it. He's trying so doggone hard. And I think what happens when you try hard in this game, you wound up making more mistakes. And, that's where you need senior leadership on a team to tell him to calm down and have some fun and enjoy it. I don't know, Ricky Renteria, but you got your priorities staying healthy first. I'm glad they brought Yomer Sanchez back. He's one of my favorite players. I mean, you need a guy on a team just like that because the enthusiasm, he plays hard, wins a Gold Glove, now he can't get a job. It's different. Giolito, he can pitch. Rodon, I guess they just took him off the DL today. you know, if I'm the manager, I'm walking him. I said, I can't say the word I want to say, but you know, it's shit or get off the pot. You got to do it. You know, he's been on the DL 3/4 of his career. His career's done. You know, if he can't do it, Michael Kopech, he's at home because he's got issues. I mean, hell, everybody in the world's got issues. Get out there and pitch, Michael Kopech. You know, that's how I feel about it. I'm your hardcore kind of guy. When I played on the 83 team and with Wimpy, I didn't care if anybody liked me. I went out there to play hard, give everything I possibly could every single day. And, you know, and it works. You're going to talk to Wimpy soon. Funny, love him to death. I mean, him and I have been doing fantasy camps for 25 years after playing together. And, you know, it's like we just saw each other yesterday when I haven't seen him in 2 years. It's just a connection that 83 team had that was special. But we got the talent to get hot. We got to get hot at the right time right now with the current team, and we can win some ball games because it's going to be over quick. There's no day off. It's got to get up and get it.
Right. I was told if I want something to last longer, I should think about baseball. But I love baseball. Sometimes when I'm at a Sox game, I have to think about sex just to, you know, keep calm.
Yeah, to set you back a couple years.
Kitty, you're awesome. Thanks for joining us on the brand new Games People Play Media Network for the celebration Still Ugly After All These Years. You're one of a kind. We love you. And again, it's ronkittle.org. And it is RonKittleCharities.org. RonKittleCharities.org. My mistake.
RonKittle.com.
And bat benches?
No, yeah, anything you want. I can make it. Let me know.
All right, Donnie, you see some of the players starting to come in right now, and what a situation. Harold Baines knocking in a winning run, and Julio Cruz scoring it. As you look at the fans out there now, enjoying first time in 24 years, the Sox on top.